today we're looking at more dependent clauses. I want to start with noun clauses and then move on to appositive modifiers. So noun clauses, you remember last lesson we looked at adverb clauses, which modify a whole clause. Adjective clauses, which modify a noun, very often which they touch, usually which they touch, but there is an exception. And now we're going to look at noun clauses, where the clause acts as, noun clauses act as subject or object of the main clause. So I've got 4 examples. I don't know who he is. This is the noun clause. I hope you can see that this is the object of the main clause, because the main clause, the independent clause, is the whole thing now. I don't know. Yeah, you can't leave that just on its own, but it's I don't know who he is, which is the independent clause. So the noun clause is a part of the independent clause. It's the object of the independent clause. Same here, except it's a subject. The fact that he called, this is the subject, shows, this is the verb. He still cares, this is the object. So we've got 2 noun clauses here. We've got a noun clause here, and they both make up the main clause, which is it all together. Okay, and on to the next one. He said that he would come, or any of these speaking verbs where you're reporting, the reporting verbs, there'll be noun clauses in there because we're using this as the object of said, and this is the entire independent clause. And we can see another one here. What you should do, this is the subject, is apologise immediately. So I hope you can see with these examples that there are noun clauses too. Now I think I should talk about appositive modifiers very quickly, but I want you to notice that this is very similar to defining and non-defining relative clauses, or restrictive and non-restrictive relative clauses. Let's have a look. Zhenya, comma, one of my students, comma, is a famous lawyer. Now we don't have any who or which in this sentence, and although we could, Zhenya, who is one of my students, we could, so you may consider this a reduced relative clause, but they're not always like this. But this, an appositive modifier, is any modifier where we have a noun and then we have a repetition of the same noun but a different description of that noun. So Zhenya is the same as one of my students. They're both referring to the same person, but they're both naming them together. So Zhenya, one of my students, is a famous lawyer. This is the appositive modifier, and it's modifying Zhenya, but it's non-essential information, and that's why it's separated by commas. Just like non-defining relative clauses are separated off by commas, it still makes sense to say Zhenya is a famous lawyer. We don't need this to work out who this person is. However, if we look at the next sentence, my student Zhenya is a famous lawyer, there's no commas here because the appositive modifier Zhenya is a vital appositive modifier. It's an essential appositive modifier. Yeah, it's vital or it's essential, just like defining clauses are essential, they're vital. Okay, so we don't have any commas here, and I gave you another example, but coming back to the relative clauses, the boy who won is my brother. The boy who won would be the subject of this sentence, but it's a defining, this part defines who the boy is, and we need it, so there's no commas. However, if we start with my brother, we need to define who that is. If we start with my brother, this is just extra information now who won the competition, so we'll need commas. The appositive modifier is just extra information. We already know it's my brother. We don't need any more information to know who it is. But here we don't know who the boy is until we know it's the boy who won. So no commas in this one. Okay, so I hope you can realise that these appositive modifiers, where we have another noun or a collection of nouns to refer to the first noun, they're basically the same as relative clauses. Use commas if it's non-essential information, but don't use commas if the appositive modifier defines which one, if it's necessary to know which one. Okay, I hope that's all clear. Just a quick lesson today. If you have any questions about this, please put them under the video, and I hope to see you all soon.